Hi everyone, this is Joy with Create It with Joy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today's card is a Mother's Day card using Simon Says Stamp, the Outline Floral Mom die. This is a really awesome die and I really love how big it is because it can be center stage on your card. So let's get started. So I am starting off with an A2 sized piece of cardstock. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I am using Letter It's Organic Stripes stencil, and I am going to be inking that up with Distress Oxide ink in Spun Sugar. And I am just doing a light stamp or light blending on the back of this card. I didn't want a super bright pink stripe, but let me tell you what, this is a great background. I really like this striped gosh, my brain just stopped working. Stencil. Geez Louise, it's early in the morning, you guys. And I'm just doing a nice light inking, not super worried if it's even or not. What I like about these stripes is they're a little bit organic. They're a little bit, they're not perfectly straight, if that makes sense. So I inked that up. We have a nice soft ink. Spun Sugar is a great soft pink. So now that that's done, I am going to take Altenew's Painted Butterflies, and I'm just going to be using the outline stamp of these, and I'm going to be using some inks, Fawn Deep Sea and Peacock, and I'm going to be doing like 2nd generation stamping on this background. I originally didn't want any dark colors on this background. I wanted it to be nice and soft and pretty, like I was making my own background paper. But I did have an oops here in a minute. I'm actually glad I did because it really turned out super pretty. So again, using these two colors, I'm stamping them off. I'm inking them up, stamp them off once on a scratch piece of paper, and then stamping them again. I am just using the outline images on the Painted Butterflies stamp set. I do have to say this is really one of my favorite stamp sets of Altenew's. I love butterflies and things like that, so I don't know, this just does it for me. So stamping it off, I'm even doing 3rd generation stamping because I just wanted to have different colors of soft ink because those pink stripes were also soft. So here in a second, I forgot to stamp it off and then just stamped it directly to my paper and for real about had a heart attack. I'm like, are you kidding me? But it worked and I went with it. I did not have to start over. See how that die lays down in there? It's fantastic. So I didn't have to start over. I am stamping the whole background because you will see through part of this big, beautiful die because it's not completely solid. You'll see here in a minute. So I did stamp the whole background where sometimes you wouldn't necessarily have to. I just tend to do that anyways, just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to finish stamping this up. See, there I about had a heart attack. Stamped it in dark and then went, oh, you're going to have to go with it. So it's all good, guys. Everyone makes mistakes. You just kind of have to roll with the punches, I guess. So finishing that up. Now I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, the Big Mom, the Outline Floral Mom die. Run that through. I use the Platinum 6 from Spellbinders. Run that through. I'm also going to run that through with Peacock, Simon Says Stamp, Peacock cardstock, pink and green leaf. Excuse me. I think their pink is called Cotton Candy or something like that, but I really could be wrong, so don't hold me to it. But it's their soft pink cardstock. So I'm going to cut that out of each one. I went back and forth on which color I was going to use. I decided on the pink. I am not going to add multiple layers of this, although you could and it would be gorgeous. I'm using the Fawn glue tube for this. You could also use any other, fine tip glue tube to adhere this down. You could run this through, like if you had one of the bigger sticker makers, you could run it through that, but this worked just fine. I'm going to center it on my stenciled and stamped background piece. And as you can see lots of things through this. Let that dry. It'll be super fast. I just put something heavy on top to make sure everything is pushed down and nice and easy. So now here is the Peacock cardstock, and there are circles on this die, and so I'm just adding some glue to the circles. I'm going to line this other die up over top of it, use my tool-in-one, and push the little circles through into the proper spots. Super easy, rather than just popping everything out and then having to fit it back in. If you can leave it as a whole piece and then just literally lay it over your existing and push it through, it is a time saver and a lifesaver. So pushing those down into all the little circles, it's super helpful to have a sharp little tool for this, because then you can kind of push them in where they need to go. Adding my dots of glue, again lining it up and pushing those through. And I loved how this peacock cardstock turned out at the end when I added some Nuvo glitter drops in White Blizzard. You guys, it looks like a jewel. It is gorgeous. Okay, now I'm going to take the green leaf and I'm going to put in all the leaves. So again, adding my glue. That little piece fell out, so I had to add it in there. But adding my glue, using my tool-in-one, lining it up and pushing it down in. Really is so super fast. And then you know where everything goes to, because you know some of these things are different sizes and shapes, and then you're not having to try to fit a puzzle, because that is not for me. I am not a girl who likes a puzzle. So this is such a time saver and sanity saver. And then you really don't lose your pieces because they are all held together. So adding a little bit of glue and pushing those down in. Then I'm going to be doing the same thing. I decided to have white flowers since everything else is pink. So I did a white flower on top. Not super, they don't stand out a lot, but I really do like how that turned out. But obviously you could use any colors that you wanted. I think this is a great die for this kind of thing. So you're just inlaying back all these colors again. Again, lining it up, using my tool-in-one to pop those out and push them down in. Now on the letters for the word mom, I used Imagine Sheer Shimmer Sparkle. I sprayed that. I put them in a box and sprayed that off camera. So there is that. And it is a fantastic sparkle. I love how it looks. So I've cut these out 3 times and I'm going to glue these together. Make sure your sparkle one is on top. Using my glue tube, lining them up. This gives dimension. Again, you could use fun foam and stick it. You could use foam tape, whatever you have on hand. But this is the easiest, and you could just use scrap cardstock to cut out the ones from, the letters for behind. Quick and easy way to give dimension. Gluing those down, putting those under an acrylic block to let those dry. This is where the dimension is going to come from. I wanted the word mom to be what pops up, but you could do it in reverse and it would be just as beautiful. That's just not how I wanted to do it this time. So put those aside. Now we're going to glue the letters for the, oh, nope, we already did that. So now I'm going to glue these in. Pop those in place. They fit in nice and good. And for the letter O, I did keep the pink centerpiece when we cut out the whole die cut out of pink, because you do want to put that in the center, because that makes that O pop out. So just a little bit of glue in the center and adhere that down. Oop. Using my tweezers, that makes it easy. Lining it up. And you see how that looks fantastic. Okay, so now I'm going to be using the Peacock cardstock. I am going to heat emboss this with white embossing powder. So I'm using a clear ink. I used my anti-static tool to make sure that embossing powder only sticks to the sentiment. Heat emboss that and then trim that out. And it says, "You're one of a kind." So I'm going to use my Tim Holtz paper trimmer. Trim it out really tiny. I really love these tiny sentiments. And this comes from Simon Says Stamp Tiny Words. And I love how thin they are because then it doesn't get in the way of your big, huge die cut. So I'm going to adhere that down to an A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I used some foam tape to pop that up. And I love how this card turned out. Now here is the Nuvo glitter drops in White Blizzard, and I'm only adding it to the circles that have the Peacock cardstock. And I am not kidding you guys, it looks like a jewel. When it is all dry and glittery, it is gorgeous. I could not get over it. And when I came back and looked, I kind of forgot what I did, and I was like, where did I get those jewels from? I'm kind of a dork that way. So really super, super pretty. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that gorgeous? That shimmer and shine on the word mom. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that this card has inspired you. If you like what you've seen, please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Please share with your crafty friends. I really appreciate it. There's some affiliate links below. It costs you nothing, but it helps me to continue. Happy Mother's Day, and I'll be back soon. Bye, guys.